Okay, folks, I'm back with another video. And this guy, Professor and Morning Joe, MSNBC, explaining why young people are failing, why the Gen Zers and the millennials are failing, and makes a great point. So TYT, I'm doing the critique on TYT. See, they're covering this guy. Agreeing with him. What he's saying is right, but the stuff they say, it's not a bad take with TYT because they're I mean, most often stuff they get right, but it's totally, it's like unhinged. Like they're right for the wrong reasons. I mean, so I'm gonna show you how these guys are wrong. Well, they might be right, but they're not. They're not. It's not all. I mean, I don't think it's all. Well, you're gonna see. I think you're right. They're right for the wrong reason. That's all I'm gonna say.
Everyone around them. We have lost the script. Our kids are more anxious, they're more depressed, they're more obese, they're more addicted, and we have made a purposeful decision to let this happen by ensuring the people around this table stay wealthy at the cost of young people.
Great
Author
point.
and Professor Scott Galloway went on an absolute...
That's a great point. That's a great point there. I agree with that.
...tear on Morning Joe, perfectly explaining some of the problems that young people are facing in modern America. Now, Galloway was very detailed in his analysis and covered a wide variety of topics, which we'll break down one by one. First is the notion that young Americans are financially worse off now than their parents were. Let's take a look.
And there are people who make an exceptionally good living, but it's all current income, and they live in a blue state. They might be paying 50 to 54% tax rate. I bet some of those people are on around this table right now. But if you can make the jump to light speed and invest in assets, stocks, housing, then your tax rate plummets. So in America, we've decided to try and create a super class of billionaires, and then if they win the gold medal, we're going to give them the silver and the bronze. Two biggest tax deductions, capital gains and mortgage interest. Who owns homes and stocks? People my age. Who doesn't know? Who rents?
Yeah, it's taxes. You pay a lot of taxes. It's not all, but the tax is not the overwhelming problem. I think because they're having for young people. I mean, you know what I mean. You know, I was young once, and I don't think the taxes were killing me. I mean, it would be affordable housing. Even back then, it was kind of, it was expensive back then. Kind of some housing, but they have cheap housing. I mean, but now it's totally unaffordable. But he's gonna get into that, I think. But taxes is not a big thing. I don't think it's a big deal. I mean, but a lot of people complain about, especially Annika Sperrin. I guess she's in California, and she complains about taxes. I mean, that's another thing. So-called leftists. How does a leftist complain about taxes, I guess? I mean, you complain about them like paying too much. I think most leftists will say that taxes, like they're not paying their fair, you're paying a lot. But the guys at the top, he's saying that the big boys, the guys at the top, the elites, the millionaires and billionaires are paying far less taxes in terms of the rates compared to average working class. I mean, that's what we're talking about here.
to make some money from current income? Young people. So we decided that the wealthiest people in the world should get exceptionally more wealthy. Minimum wage stuck at $9.25. Stock market is screamed up. The average 70-year-old is 72% wealthier than they were 40 years ago. The average person under the age of 40 is 24% less wealthy. We
under the age of 40, folks. Keep that in mind. And what she's talking about, she's going to talk about here. Her reaction to this. And you talk about me, that's the pain. The wages hasn't gone up like they used to be. Well, they have gone up actually recently, but for a long time they're stagnant. For 30 years, they've been kind of stagnant. But now it's kind of rise up a little bit, the wages. But it's not compared to the way back in the 80s. Or they were over in the 70s, like wages were. In terms of inflation, they were maybe higher in terms of that. Or even in the 60s and 50s and 60s, actually. That's when the wages were, the wages are really, you know what I mean? The more, how they started, put this in mind that, started to go down when they get to the 1980s, when Reagan came in, and more right-wing policies came in with wages, and more neoliberal. It was always neoliberal policies, but the more right-wing, more to the right actually, and austerity programs came in. So that's how you get this stagnant wages and less unions. I mean, clamp down on unions. Now the unions are coming back, kind of. But
are purposely transferring more wealth from the poor and middle class to the upper class to the super rich, and from young.
He says poor and middle class. See what he says? Poor and middle class, poor and working class. The money's going from the poor and middle class to the super upper rich. See what he's saying?
Old.
Man, look, he said a lot there. And there were points of his statement that really, really struck.
What did these guys say now? They're totally not on point what he's saying. Look what they're saying.
Good nerve with me personally, really hit home. You know, he starts off by talking.
It's all about personal with these people, and she's like a millionaire, and she's PMC class. I wouldn't call her poor. I mean working class. I would not call these people working class because she's middle class or upper middle class. More likely they're upper middle class. They're probably millionaires. These online influencers make a lot of. Some of these guys are millionaires. You realize that? Hassan Piper, he's a millionaire. He makes a lot of $3 million or $5 million. He makes. I mean, yearly, I think. Some of these guys are millionaires. So these guys make a lot of money. They got so many subscribers. How many? They got 5 million subscribers. TYT guys. So these guys are making a lot of money. So now they're not in the same class. You can compare her to the young people. Or a student loan, like somebody, like kid nowadays, or in school, like paying off student loan. I mean,
about the 55% tax rate if you live in a blue state. That includes the local taxes, state taxes, and federal taxes, and how you don't get the tax breaks if you haven't been privileged enough to afford astronomically priced houses, okay? You don't get the kind of tax benefits and deductions that people who have built a tremendous amount of wealth get to take advantage of. God, that really hit home for me. And then, by the way, you add that.
She's really triggered by this. Really triggered by this, folks. I mean, I'm not gonna worry about the taxes. I mean, but in the U.S. though, but it depends on what state though. Some states they don't pay that much taxes. I mean, the guy was saying that if you're in a blue state, so I don't think that's the main factor. You're paying a lot of taxes. Sure, the factor is that, okay, the factor is you're paying more taxes and they get tax breaks. That's the factor. That's the biggest thing. They're getting better tax breaks than you. But the point of taxes is the main thing. It's not the main thing of young people, I think, the taxes. I'm pretty sure if you ask them, are you paying too much taxes? Somebody like her she makes a lot of money. She pays a lot of taxes. I mean, and it's a progressive tax too, because she's making more than the average young people, I guess. The say student, like, she's more upper middle class, so I guess she's in between. She doesn't get the tax break. I guess that's why she's mad. She's not rich enough to get the good tax break. Even though, but she's paying a lot of taxes. I mean,
extra layer of feeling like the taxes that you pay don't actually go back to benefit.
She's all about taxes. She's like a right winger. She can write. This is what they get wrong. It's not about damn taxes. I mean, Jesus.
The community you live in doesn't actually make your life better. You see what the money gets wasted.
Inner young people, I bet. Go and ask them, what's the main thing? I should ask them online too. That's a good idea.
You see how much money we spend on foreign wars and things like that. Yeah, it's infuriating. Like, finally, you hear someone on cable television, no less, vocalizing the actual rage that young Americans are feeling and accurately explaining where that rage stems from.
Pausing here to deliver some honest truth as we do in our...
I'm going to forward this ad of these guys.
TYT is facing challenge. If you hit the join button below, it's going to make all and open minds. Absolutely brilliant. Pay that much taxes, and I got unemployment benefit.
Well, what he says,
and I got unemployment benefit.
They don't pay that much taxes
because, look, when I was poor, I didn't pay that much taxes.
So you say when he was poor,
and I got
it's not about taxes, man.
Benefits, etc. So
see, this is
look,
all...
I had 1,000 other problems being poor, right?
Exactly, but it's not about taxes. It's not about damn taxes. These people think it's like they're like Republicans, man. It's about taxes. Oh my God. So the main thing is when young people playing, Gen Zers and millennials, the main thing is taxes. Not housing, not the student loan, but taxes. It seems the theme now.
Taxes wasn't high on the list. When they're rich, they've stopped paying taxes too, for all the legal reasons, but that's the problem, is that they changed the laws so they would pay less taxes than us. Let alone capital gains. The carried interest loophole is insanity. Insanity. Where like the top...
And how about jobs too, man? I think it's more than...
venture capitalists in the world, private equity guys pay way less taxes. The billionaires, I think on average, are paying only 8% in taxes.
Folks, you know what's going on here? It's not about the so-called left-wing audience. It's about middle-class audience. That's what they're trying to appeal to. Because maybe they pay a lot of taxes. They think the middle-class audience, they pay a lot of taxes. So this is all about this. This is what it's all about, folks.
Okay, so it's just a crime how little taxes the rich pay. So somebody's got to lift that burden, and it's a giant burden. We got to pay for defense, got to pay for all these different things, right? So they just dump everything on the middle class. The middle class pays the most by.
See, it's about the middle class on all taxes. Oh, it's about the middle. How about the working poor? How about the poor? So the poor doesn't pay any taxes. Why is it all about taxes? Oh my God. And they cut off that part. See, the guy said more stuff. You saying that the tax rate. You saying that what did he said about? I think he said that was his main thing though. Did he mention the cost of living? I think it's more than tax.
Four. And they go, so what? Take it. Okay.
Right, but and then let me just add a little bit more to that. And then you have situations in which, you know, you pay your taxes, they're astronomical if you're a working middle class American. And then in high tax states like California, 24 billion over 5 years spent on homelessness. They face an audit, they can't account for that money.
This is about, see, this is all about these people. It's about them, folks. And this is the red herring. I mean, she's saying homelessness. You don't really care about the homeless. That's another thing, folks. He doesn't care at all. All right, this is young people facing taxes. This is crazy. This is a crazy take now, I think about. I mean, how about good jobs? There's no good jobs. I mean, good. You make enough money to get your housing, to pay for your housing, to pay for your rent. I mean, but this came all about this taxes. This whole thing is. So I don't think that guy was talking about taxes. I should go back. I'm go back.
They can't account for that money.
Yeah, and guys, so they're also risking a little bit of a rebellion here. The top 10% controls the country. Bottom 90% has almost no effect on policy, right? But the top 10% is a big group. There's the top 0.1%, that's the bankers, etc., that actually control everything. And the rest of the 10% is filled with doctors, dentists, accountants, lawyers, etc. Mm-hmm. And they're coming after those guys now. So even when I was at MSNBC and I made good money, I was not in the top brackets that, like, in that.
So they're saying that the reason why they don't make they're doing worse than the parents because they're paying more taxes than their parents. Oh my God, what garbage! This is garbage. These guys.
Place where you can take advantage of all those loopholes, right? So the doctors and the accountants are getting crushed now too. So they're fomenting rebellion.
How do leftists care about taxes in that sense? I mean, paying too much taxes. I mean, I think you want to pay the taxes. Like, you don't pay that much. I mean, she's right. The taxpayers' money go to they don't do what the taxes are for, I guess. But they don't spend the money wisely, the government. But still, why is it I mean, look, why is a leftist tax? So you're against the tax. You're against taxation, I guess. You guys are against taxation. I mean, they don't believe in, so they don't really believe in, you like more like on the right, they don't believe in taxes. Like they want the lowest, I don't know, these guys want. I guess they think they don't get the breaks like but the taxes depends on what state. Like some states you don't pay any taxes at all. I mean, you don't pay, like Texas, you don't pay what was it saying? You don't pay any, you just pay sales tax. There's no state tax or something like that. I mean, so you're in a blue state, you're gonna pay more taxes, but there's more. But maybe there's more. But you go to red state, you don't have like a social safety net. Might be bad. So I don't know. So there's two different. This is the reason why. I mean, I suppose if you're in a red state, they do stupidness with your money anyways. If you're in a red state, so this taxes are goes by state. So, but why it's not taxes? I mean, the main reason why young people don't do less, taxes is one reason, but it's not tax. It's not the main reason. But they make it about taxes. This is crazy.
Not realizing this, they're so incredibly greedy.
crazy.
But now back to the young. The people that are suffering the most are the young, because all the rules have been changed against them and in favor of the already wealthy. And no one in the establishment ever talks about that. All they do is talk down to them, go, oh, you're lazy, entitled, millennials, Gen Z, boo. So tremendous credit to Scott Galloway for accurately showing the numbers. And this is not conjecture. It is stone cold facts that young people have it much harder on housing, student debt, and in every...
Thank you. Student debt, housing. That's the main problem. It's not taxes. Oh my God. But Annika Sperrin. I guess that's why they made it because of her. Because she hates paying the taxes. Student housing debt and jobs.
Freeway. So finally someone said it on TV, so I'm very appreciative of it.
Yeah, and he also said, like, look, this is a system that just seeks to benefit like the people sitting at this table. So he included himself in that equation, which I value that he said that, and I particularly like the fact that he's telling the truth and pointing out the reality involving these anchors.
They didn't show all the interview, I guess. I don't know if they showed all of it. I should go, because I don't know what he said after that. He just said taxes, the tax rates, what the elites are paying. They're not paying any taxes, and the young people are paying a lot more taxes. But the young and the poor, not just the. But he's talking about, I guess, young people in that segment.
On cable television, who I would venture to say are so disconnected from what ordinary Americans are facing. It shows in their coverage of various stories, right? So I just enjoyed that moment where he kind of called them out and how they're kind of blind to how the system benefits them and really puts young Americans at a disadvantage.
Thanks for watching the Young.
Yeah, that's it, folks. That's a terrible take again. Oh my God. I don't know. But the MSNBC guy, he's talking about taxes in that segment. But I think he went on. I don't know if he explored. I want to go back to that segment. I don't know if I could find that segment. Yeah. I don't know if he talked about anything else, because they cut that part off. When he talked about taxes. It seems like that. I think he talked about more than just taxes. Because that's what I'm thinking. But this became about taxes, folks. That's not the reason why they're struggling, in my opinion. There's a lot more things than taxes. It varies from state to state. I mean, I think it's housing. Jink had it right. They should focus on housing. They should have focused on that, and student debt. I mean, and jobs. Not really good. They don't pay that much, these jobs. Even though it's still their wages have gone up a little bit, but still. But it's not about taxes, folks. Not a bad take. It's about these guys, because these guys pay a lot of taxes. Especially her. She makes a lot of money. She pays a lot of taxes. And she doesn't get, and I guess she doesn't make enough to get the tax breaks that these millionaires do. So that's why she's acting like a Karen again. Anyways, folks, that's it for this video. I'm out.